Remember, hydration is key. Okay, in this video, I want to discuss something. We talked a little bit about this before, this idea, but not this particular story. So I'm going to bring it home. I'm going to take my time with it. But before I get going, of course, I want to let you all know what we got in store. A lot of the videos like this, where you see the cameras, the same exact stream, sort of line of sight, that's going to be changing very, very soon. How soon to be determined, but very soon in the near future it's going to be changing. I'm finishing setting up the other two rooms. It's the reason why I got this place. And I have two studio rooms, and I'll be doing a lot of different things. And the shots will be changing. I have a bunch of more equipment to finally get that done, especially the big room. I'm really excited for that. So you guys will see more content, but it will be more along the lines of back to me standing up, going through certain things. It's going to look and be more visually stimulating for you guys, especially when it comes to the comic book related material. Bringing on a couple of video editors on my team as well, so I can get more content out to you guys. I'm very excited for that and appreciate the support. All right, this video, though, we're going to discuss. You've probably seen this go around. A couple of YouTubers have discussed it. And basically what it is considering the whole defund the police thing kind of stemmed from the Minneapolis thing with George Floyd and their government agreeing to with a local city council. I think it got knocked down about defunding the police and all of these sort of things, all sorts of conversations that come from this. But it's a great opportunity to really talk about this nonetheless. And even though this particular thing that you're seeing right now, it's hard to verify where this came from, but this is what was being shared on social media. And it's the police saying, giving you some tips. And some of it is more so saying that you should comply. You're on your own and you should comply. They're mentioning that robberies have gone up. 20 carjackings have been reported, so forth. So basically it's telling you that, look, things are getting real. This is what it seems like if you're reading this. Things are getting real. You're on your own, but you should comply in the event that you are getting robbed. And what actually seems to have happened is, again, it's like mixed in terms of where this comes from, or if it's even true. They've part about the increase in some of like the carjackings and stuff. I believe that a lot of that is true. In terms of this increase in those, but nonetheless, on what I do know, as I confirm here, robbery and theft prevention, they actually do sort of list that idea. So why the screenshot, the email may not be true, it may be true, I'm not sure. We do know that they actually say that if you're confronted, stay calm and cooperate. Like that's in, if you go to Minneapolis, .gov or whatever, that's what they list under the robbery and theft prevention thing. And this had been updated, last updated in April. So that is listed. And I think this gives us an opportunity to talk about that and the whole national conversation when it comes to crime and the response to it. I sympathize for sure with the concerns on different sides of this issue. When it comes to defund the police, there are people that worry, well, you defund the police, crime's going to break out because people look at it as no repercussions and you're going to have nobody to call. Those are all legitimate concerns. You'll never catch me ever defending the police on concept. But this is why I say that it's an opportunity to talk, well, not police, more so the idea of the state agents, which is effectively what the police act as. Now, definitely in more inner cities. What I wish was happening we've seen it some cases, but not really. This is the best case scenario in all of this, because I know they're not going to quit their jobs, not going to abolish themselves or anything like that. Yes, I am an anarcho-capitalist. I'm not going to spend all this time going through my political positions for those idiots who thought I was some sort of Trump-supporting Republican and I was going to be just worshiping state agents such as the police. I encourage you to watch my actual videos and listen to what I'm saying. Just because I'm anti-leftist does not mean I'm on your side. Nonetheless, what I wish was happening was that you had, let's say, these state agents, call them what they are, talking about how, let's say, people's hands have been tied behind their back as individuals and their own protection, because you are your own first responder at the end of the day. So when it comes to defense, when it comes to prevent actual legitimate crime prevention, that starts with the individual and the things that they put in place to stop that in the event that it happens or prevent it. That's on the individual. It's where it starts. At best, the police are a response agency. You don't call them, and the only time you're really calling them is if you yourself are screwed, right? And you can't do nothing legally, right? But the thing has already happened. Like, they're not security in the sense that they're in front of everybody's house or car or private property and they're defending it from. It's not how it works. What's happened in a lot of cities like this, there's definitely these uber blue cities. These people have been tied, their hands are tied behind their back because of these ridiculous gun laws, especially when it comes to response. Minneapolis and also Minnesota, I believe the state, it is a duty to retreat state, in that they require you to run away before you can actually shoot someone to defend your property. Now that is a mess. That obviously shouldn't be the case, but that's what the sort of laws that we're dealing with that happens, that exist throughout this nation. And those people that live within those geographical areas can't do much in terms of responding. Either, again, they can't respond at all. They're reluctant to respond because of the fact that they might get in trouble. And I understand it's a legitimate fear. But if those cops, the beloved police unions and what have you, were actually highlighting this, for one, they'd have more support, probably not from me, but maybe more minarchist libertarians for sure, have more support for them and what it is that they do. Because at least they are wanting to put the power in the hands of the individual. Like the best case scenario, going back to that point, like, for example, when all of this happened, and you saw riots and stuff breaking out post George Floyd, and there was a sheriff and a police, sheriff in Florida. He said that to the people that lived in that area, he said, "Look, these, they were armed out here, and if you will run up in these areas, I'm encouraging them to blast you out of there." That is the best case scenario that people generally support it, but it's not what happens. They don't even, and of course they obviously enforce all of these ridiculous gun laws in the event. That's all illegal possession is. It's, there's people that they say are not supposed to have weapons, or you didn't go through the proper channels, depending on where you're at, and you have a gun, and therefore you're going to jail. It's complete nonsense, made it nearly impossible. You have to go through all of these background checks. It really depends on where you're at. And a lot of people who live in these areas are actually finding this out because they're like, man, it's getting crazy out here. I should get a gun. What do you mean there's a 10-day wait period? Yes, these are real things. But they'd have a lot more support from individuals if definitely the more freedom-minded people. And for those who are so confused as to why people are so against the police that claim to be for freedom, you have to understand that. Like, when you look at these ridiculous gun laws, or you look at any I don't even want to say non-violent, let's say victimless crime. There is no victim. It's completely arbitrary. State said it was illegal. You did something, and therefore you didn't put anybody at danger or anything like that. Again, it had no victim. There was no even potential victim. And they caught these guys over, to jail, and they enforced these laws. It's not the Bernie Sanders. It's not these uber leftist politicians that you hate that enforce those. It's the police. And this is why a lot of people have issue with them, definitely as it pertains to them, because it doesn't look like they are front lines in wanting to put the power back into the individuals. Because again, it's them that enforce the laws in the first place, that enforce those nonsensical gun laws. They brag about it. You see it all the time, right? We collected these illegal guns, and then they posted on Twitter and Facebook. Like, all of that's a problem. This should have been a time that you think they'd be like, look, these laws, if they're actually on the side of the people, they come out and just straight up say it universally, for the most part, all across the country. Your politicians suck. They've attempted to strip away power from you, and we are simply not enforcing these laws in the event that this happens. That they would get so much support, but you don't generally see them doing that. And again, the Minneapolis government does say, as far as robbery, theft prevention, this is not necessarily the police per se. Hey, cooperate instead of get armed. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, obviously they can't force anybody to carry a gun if they don't want to, but you get what I'm saying. That's the problem. Is that there's this idea that you aren't supposed to. And this is why people are incentivized to be criminals. And by criminals, I don't mean arbitrary laws. I mean criminals by way of people that actually advocate for use and acts of aggression upon people, that actually do those types of things, violate the private property rights of other people, actual criminals. You see, those types should be met with whatever force is necessary to stop them from doing what it is that they're doing. But it's not universally supported by the police. Certainly the politicians obviously aren't on their side, and they use the police as the enforcement wing when it comes to those laws that impede on the freedoms of people. This is why I was like, they're just doing their jobs. That's not a good argument, guys, when you talk about the police. Go look at my George Floyd video. Go look at my videos about, I have a video, I believe it's titled, Why Conservatives Should Reconsider Their Blind Support, Why Some Conservatives Should Reconsider Their Blind Support of military and law enforcement. It's intriguing. Encourage you to go watch it. But I just wanted to do this video to kind of talk about this subject because it is near and dear to me. I take complete issue, and I think it's a lot more complex than what some people give it credit for in this regard. So I understand and I empathize with different sides of this, right? The people that are actually concerned about crime in their area, the people that actually have issues with the police officers and what it is they're doing in their areas. I empathize with what it is that's happening, depending on their perspective, which is why it's okay for me to be like, two parties can be wrong. So I call it like I'm opposing gangs. I'm talking about like the federal government beefing with like the Antifa type. I call them opposing gangs, and people really didn't like that nonetheless. So I made this video with this. If the police want support from actual freedom-minded people, start being unapologetic with the fact that you want people to protect themselves, defend themselves, not have you defend them.